Although we're pressed for time because of votes, I now recognize Mr. Gomez from California, but I would recommend, and we've discussed this with the ranking member in the past, especially if you're waving on, you be here on time. And I know we all have schedules to keep, but go ahead, Mr. Gomez.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Really appreciate it. So I think there should be broad agreement we shouldn't ban books. Like, that's just flat out pretty simple. But I believe my colleagues on the other side of the aisle want to distract and rewrite what happened over the last several years. Everything from the COVID response to the massive tax cut that they gave to the top 0.1% in this country. They want to change a lot of the narrative of the last, not 2 years, but 4 years from before that when President Trump was in the White House. So I want to kind of focus on issues that I think the American people really care about. If they cared about children, why are they attempting to cut federal child care funding by 22%? That's what their budget would do. And why do they want 200,000 children to lose access to Head Start and 100,000 children to lose access to childcare? Working parents are spending nearly as much of their income on childcare as they do on housing. As a new parent and founder of the Dad's Caucus, I can tell you one thing. Our childcare system is in crisis. Not only is it unaffordable and inaccessible, childcare workers who are predominantly women of color are severely underpaid and overworked. Meanwhile, the Biden administration and congressional Democrats have consistently acted to protect childcare across the country. For example, the Biden administration invested around $39 billion from the American Rescue Plan to help child care providers keep their doors open. These efforts have helped 220,000 child care programs, which employ over 1 million child care workers with the capacity to serve nearly 10 million children. Additionally, the president's budget would expand access to affordable, high-quality child care by enabling states to increase child care options and by lowering costs so that more parents can afford care. The president's budget also funds a federal-state partnership that provides high-quality, universal, free preschool to support healthy child development and ensure children enter kindergarten ready to succeed. Meanwhile, congressional Democrats led the fight for increased child care funding in last year's spending package, securing $8 billion for the Child Care and Development Block Grant, an increase of $1.9 billion above the fiscal year 22 enacted level. And before that, House Democrats passed Child Care is Essential Act, which would have appropriated $50 billion in federal child care funds. Ms. Weingarten, how does adequately funding our nation's child care benefit our children's development and growth?
So thank you for that question, Congressman. All day long, I've been talking about how teachers teach kids. I am glad that in this pandemic, thank God, it did not affect children the way it affected adults. But it's the teachers that teach kids. It's the bus drivers, it's the school nurses, but we need help. And so when we have Head Start, when we have community schools, when we have all these things that look like they're on the chopping block now, it's gonna make it harder to teach kids. It's gonna be making it harder if you cut Head Start for kids to have a Head Start when they get to kindergarten. And so when you cut community schools or the guidance services, all these things that we need for kids now because of their development issues, because of suicidal issues, we need this help. We can't do it alone. We asked for during COVID for teachers to be safe and have clear guidance to have them safe. We wanted to be in school. I've said that over and over and over again today.
And I appreciate that. Two of my siblings are teachers, and San Francisco Unified. They teach, for a long time until recently, they taught a dual immersion Spanish-English.
Yeah, right.
And if you ever had a teacher in your family or sibling or mother or father, people recognize that they give everything. Oftentimes, because they don't have enough resources from their own school, they subsidize, the supplies for their own students. If they see a student without a coat, they give them a coat. If they see a student without, that they need a little extra help, they'll go out and give a little extra help on their own time. Not because they're getting paid, but on their own time. And that's what the teachers have done for our country. So I really appreciate it. I yield back.